from Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, what a Thursday we got today. Opening day, day one at Augusta National. The Masters underway. And in 3 minutes, Tiger Woods tees off. What a miraculous story that is. It is official, by the way. It's Simmons Bank Liberty Bowl. They signed that deal, $6.8 million for the next 10 years. I think that's a heck of a deal for Simmons Bank. I really do. I would have thought naming rights in this day and age. Now, there's only the Tigers are going to play 6, maybe 7 football games there. I'd have to go look. Some years there's 7. You got the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. You got the Southern Heritage Classic, so that's 9 games. I'm trying to figure out, but every time you say they're going to play, you're going to try to say, for respect of the way the world works these days, you're going to say Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium instead of the Liberty Bowl. I would have kept the Liberty Bowl Stadium personally, but the important thing is to get Simmons Bank in there for the Simmons Bank people. But I think $6.8 million for 10 years, I think it's a heck of a deal. I really do.
It's an interesting, like you said, the most interesting thing to me is removal of the bowl. It doesn't seem to infringe upon the naming rights itself. I wonder why they took the bowl out.
You know, maybe because it is the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
I see.
And so that sort of gets confusing. It's the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game, which will be now played at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. If you said, I don't know, too many bowls, I'm really not sure. I think it'll be hard for us to not put bowl in there because it's been the Liberty Bowl.
People still
forever.
say Memphis State, you know?
Sure they do. And some of them do it on purpose because they're mad they changed the name because it's on their diploma. I get that. I really do. But I think that's a heck of a deal. Grizz and Denver today. So we got opening day. We got Masters with Tigers. We got the Grizz at Denver tonight in a meaningless game. Well, I shouldn't say that. Nuggets, by the way, 4.5-point favorites. It's really not meaningless because if you win tonight, then you tie the franchise record with 56 wins. And then you've got the Pelicans and the Celtics at home. Win one of those 2, and you can break the franchise record. Do you think, J-Mo, that is important? Or is it more important just to play for looking ahead?
Important is a very good phrasing for that word. I do not think it's important. However, I do think it would be very cool and great for us fans, and it would be fun for us to talk about on the radio. But important, I don't think it's a very important thing.
I am really torn, and I'll tell you why. I mean, if we're, and I think they should, but if you're putting up banners for winning divisional titles, and I say put a banner up for every accomplishment you have. I know some people are going to go, oh, yeah, it's like everybody gets a trophy or a blue ribbon or something at the youth level. No. This is something you've never accomplished. But wouldn't it be better if you accomplished that and set a franchise record? Then it seems to me it's more reasonable to raise that banner and put that on there.
Certainly would be. But you got to think also, I mean, I feel like you have a good argument for just putting it up there for winning the division just because of the way the schedule is laid out. Those teams play each other so much more than other teams in the league. It's still a great accomplishment to say I beat them way more than they beat me.
And you've never done it before.
That's right.
You think about it. This is the 5th time you've had 50-plus wins, and you've never won the Southwest Division. And here you go. You got it. But wouldn't it be cool if it said on that banner, first time Southwest Division champion winners and franchise record 57 wins? I'd put that on there if I were them.
And it would stand out in history more when you think of the Grizzlies franchise, I think, as well. Not that it won't not to say it won't just by winning the division, but franchise record is an accomplishment that when you go through the Grizzlies records, that's probably one of the first one that pops up. So I understand what you mean by that. I hope they get it. But, I don't think there's no love loss isn't the right word, but I don't think it's any disappointment if they don't either. It's still winning the division, and being the 2 seed going to the playoffs is a tremendous accomplishment.
I would be very, very much disappointed if they didn't get it. Really. Because it gets me to this point. It's something I've been saying for a long time. And finally, the commissioner of the NBA has weighed in, again, really, on his concern for star players not playing games, not playing, I think he worded it, as the full complement of games. I don't think he's saying we got 82 games, you should play 82 games. But I do think he's making the point that if we have 82 games, we got to have stars who play in these games. Otherwise, it diminishes the value of playing 82 games. And I've said that all along. I think the only solution, and, I've heard a lot of people go, well, there is no solution. You're not playing less games because there's so much revenue. Well, guess what? You as a league, collectively with your players who apparently are all for resting, you all need to sit down and say, you know what, maybe we should play 10% less games. And if that will elongate our careers and we're healthier, not just while we play, but after we play, then let's take 10% less revenue. I mean, that should be in the discussion. Or you say, you know what, the rules should be like we have in the playoffs. You never play back-to-back games. You never play back-to-back games in the playoff. You always have at least one day off. If you did that, maybe you have to make the season a month longer. Maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe it should go through July. I'm just throwing that out there because there has to be a solution to guys getting rested and never playing the second of back-to-back games. Don't have back-to-back games. Now you take that part of the equation out of it. But it's crazy when the Grizzlies are playing Phoenix. And I don't think it hurt the crowd, but it would hurt me if I were a guy with a season ticket that I paid and I want to see the best team in the league, and I don't get to see them that much, and they're in town, and you're starting one starter for that game. Only one guy starts in that game for you that's normally on the floor. Even though you won that game, I get it. That's crazy. That's not good marketing. That's not good for the brand of the league, in my estimation. I'm with the commissioner, and I keep hearing there's no solution. Well, there is a solution. The solution is either elongate the season and never have back-to-backs, certainly not 3 games in 4 nights, and or cut the season down 10%. Go from 82 games to 70 games.
Which is certainly a different I think you're exactly right in terms of the perspective of market. It's not good marketing. It's not good for the brand. It's not good for fans in a star-driven league. But I think when you think about it in terms of the teams and the players themselves, it's an excellent opportunity, though, for young players to show that they deserve a chance, especially like you look at the Miami Heat, who juggled starting lineups so much. A guy like Max Strus, who you never thought would play, gets a huge opportunity this season and is now starting because like Jimmy Butler and Bam and Kyle Lowry have been out the whole season. So from a player perspective, they get great opportunities too, but I totally get what you're saying in terms of branding and marketing. Well, it's not good for fans to want to see stars.
So some of this began 10 years ago, right? I think it was 10 years ago when Greg Popovich decided he was benching his big 3, Ginobili, Parker, and Duncan. Second game of a back-to-back, which happened to be on national TV. Not only were they not there, he sent them home to San Antonio so they could rest up. The commissioner at that time, David Stern, was incensed because it was a national TV game, and this is his premier team. And the reason they're the premier team is because we market up close and personal, right? We want to know the stars. Those are the guys that are the key to this thing. They didn't play. He fined that team $250,000, $250,000 for benching those guys and not sending them to the game. Well, it turns out they were the forerunners of load management. And even though it cost them $250,000, they didn't know at the time because that was the first time anything like that was levied. But, you could say, well, it sure worked for them because, look, those guys lasted 15 years in their career.
No doubt, but I think you do make a good point. To what degree is too much? For instance, the Dallas Mavericks this season, last year, Rick Carlisle's a big load management guy. Back-to-backs, like you're saying, he lived by that. And maybe 2 seasons in one has something to do with that. But you would see Luka sit out all the time, especially against bad teams. And then it would become a competitive game. And that this season, Jason Kidd doesn't sit Luka out in that way at all. And now the Mavericks are arguably playing much better basketball. So to your point, maybe it not only is good for fan bases, maybe it leads to playing better basketball at the end of the year. Certainly there's maybe other factors, but that could be one argument you can make for it.
Well, I think he's got a couple things going on here. I think he wants an in-season tournament. He already loves the play-in, which I love the play-in. I'm going to be honest with you. You can argue all day long about basically too many players that it just gets convoluted at the end. I think what it does is it makes it interesting at the end.
To do a play-in tournament to
do the play-in.
I agree.
I think it brought 2 more teams in. Look, San Antonio were getting full houses to see if they could catch the Lakers.
That's right.
That wouldn't have been happening if they were not in this thing. Pelicans, nobody was coming to the Pelicans games. All of a sudden, they're in the picture. Even without Zion, people started coming to the games. That makes sense to me. Those kinds of games. The last 12 games of the regular season when nobody plays, who cares about those unless there's a chase?
Stakes,
yeah. So there you go. Play less games. Play the play-in. That's added games. Or play that play-in tournament. That's added games. Elongate the season another month if you have to. Don't play back-to-backs, and that ends your argument. You're playing 70 regular season games. Now you got a couple of different twists and turns that have meaning, that will make interesting storylines, that bring people into the games. Do that. That makes sense to me. Play less meaningless games, and if you elongate it a month, that's okay if it eliminates all the resting. And I'm not saying you still got to play all 70 games. Play 65 games. Take 5 games off for load management. Don't have back-to-backs. See how that works out. I haven't gone to the computer and tried to figure out if you could get 70 games of play-in and an in-season tournament in a calendar year that adds 1 month, but I'll bet you could.
The in-season tournament I find so fascinating because I think it would be extremely compelling for those last place teams to compete. But I can't. Whenever I try to think the logistics of it all, I can't figure out a way to do it. But I hope they figure it out because that would be awesome. To see every team, no matter what level you finish at in the season, being able to compete at the end of the year would be so much fun.
They have teed off. Tiger Woods has teed off. This is hard to believe. Through 9 holes, a amateur named Andrew Greaser. He leads the Masters at 1 under, tied with Padraig Harrington. I think it's Harry Higgs, right? Max Homa, Taylor Gooch, all at 1 under. Guido Migliozzi. He was leading this tournament at 2 under for a while. He's had 2 bogeys, or at least, or maybe a double bogey. He's at even par now through 7 holes. Minwoo Lee, an Australian, is also at even par. Brian Harman, we got an update coming your way in a little bit. I believe Tiger Woods has teed off, so I would say his ball probably in the middle of the fairway as we speak on number 1.
On the green, as a matter of fact.
Oh, he's already on the green.
Already on the green.
In regulation?
No, he had to chip on.
No.
But he's got a good look at par. Good look at par.
I wonder, do you think Tiger Woods is nervous? Think about that.
I don't think so. I think that might be his problem.
He's never nervous.
He's not. But people used to say he would play so well when he gets angry.
Yeah.
And now he's so relaxed and just so at center, and I think that might be detrimental to his game.
Yeah. We got a busy show today. Russell Copeland, as always, will join us at about 10:25, maybe less. Ron Higgins joins us at 10:45. We mentioned that we have a Masters update coming your way in about 4 minutes. It is opening day. So everybody's got that spring hope, right? Spring is eternal. That optimism that you get all throughout the major leagues. And you know what? You should. Because the last time Major League Baseball had a repeat champ, which is not very good for the Atlanta Braves and all their fans. Last time there was a repeat champion was 2000, the New York Yankees. That's hard to believe. In 22 years, no repeat Major League Baseball World Series champion. Wow. Hard to imagine.
Great parody.
I think it's great for the game. I mean, there are those that would argue, and I understand their argument, that we are all drawn to great teams, that ratings are usually better. When the Yankees were great, everybody wanted to watch them. This Dodgers team this year, maybe everybody wants to watch them. We'll wait and see. Golden State Warriors. Numbers were great when they were winning 63 games, right? I think, though, that it's very cool that if you're a Major League Baseball city, knowing that, okay, maybe it's our turn this year because nobody's repeated. That, to me, is more exciting. So if I'm in Milwaukee this year, I'm excited. Or if I'm in Toronto, I'm excited. Because Toronto and the Dodgers are the two teams that most people think will be in the World Series. I saw one guy, a CBS guy, pick the Milwaukee Brewers. Most of the consensus is the Brewers will win the National League Central with the Cardinals finishing second. There's one guy that has the Cubs finishing second. I hope that he's right. But hope is eternal in the spring, and a lot of teams have an absolute chance. And by the way, Rob Manfred also has weighed in. We've had commissioners weighing in here of late. Manfred is saying, we've been experimenting with a pitch clock. I think we need a pitch clock. It's worked in the minor leagues. So in 1984, the average time for a baseball game, do you know what it was, J-Mo?
I can't even imagine. Shorter or longer?
Shorter.
Okay, 2 hours.
2 hours and 40 minutes.
Well, that's almost 3 hours then.
2 hours and 40 minutes. That's 20 minutes shy. You know what the average time last year was?
3:16.
3:10. So you're talking about 30 more minutes. I am not opposed at all to having a pitch clock. I was listening to Ben Johnson. I tend to agree with the shift thing. Like, if you're a major league player and you can't learn how to hit the other way, you're not much of a major league player. Seems to me you'd learn how to hit the other way and you'd get a lot of cheap hits.
Especially if there's no one over there.
But I know the commissioner wants baseball to return where balls get put into play. So maybe that shift is going to be outlawed. We shall see. That is for sure. But baseball, all the games today. And we got the Grizz tonight. And we'll let you know almost shot by shot what Tiger Woods does, at least during this show. And you're about to get a Masters update live from Augusta National. It is brought to you by the Mid-South Wellness Center in Eastgate, Bob Simpson State Farm Agency, the Wedgwood Golf Club, Ronald Bubba Sandifer, Emmett Baird Realty, and Courage Through Cancer, and their 5K race May the 21st at Shelby Farms. All of those, we thank you for providing us all the information that you will get right now at the Augusta National Club.
From the Augusta National Golf Club, Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the Masters. I'm Ted Emmerich. After 4 inches of rain over the last 48 hours, the first round of the 86th Masters is here. Scottie Scheffler just became the #1 player in the world last week after his 3rd win in his last 5 starts. The 25-year-old from Dallas is one of a few 20-somethings who have made waves on tour recently.
I think it's been pretty cool having, all the young guys have success out here and, seeing guys like Sam Burns and Colin Morikawa and Victor and Matt and all these guys have success, I think definitely gave us a bit more confidence, just like Jordan had when I was in college. When you get to see those guys that you've been playing against and competing with for years come out here and have success, it's kind of a boost for you to be like, yeah, I can do that too. And so, it's definitely nice to have some friends out here and, we're having a good time.
Scheffler tees off about 10 minutes from now with Adam Scott and Tony Finau. You're listening to coverage of the 2022 Masters on Westwood One.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour, barely keeping up. But to cruise through challenges, you need someone who's right there with you. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PCs and tech advice you need to get past whatever's in front of you and get where you want to go. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
Let's add a little red right there. Hey, we'll be right with you.
For Bianca's flower shop, spring orders and Mother's Day are a tricky arrangement.
Hey, can I get help repotting this fiddle leaf?
She needs to put the pedal to the metal and find more florists.
We're running low on daisies. How does that even happen?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Somehow, Tiger Woods is back at Augusta National a little more than a year after his life-threatening car wreck. Wearing a pink mock turtleneck and black pants, Tiger didn't like his tee shot. It landed just shy of the fairway bunker on the right. His approach rolled off the front side of the green, but he chipped it within 10 feet of the hole and just saved par. So, Tiger on his way to hole number 2. Check the leaderboard, sponsored by Dell. For your small business needs, call a Dell Technologies advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. Tiger just a shot off the lead. There are 7 players at 1 under par. Padraig Harrington, amateur Austin Greaser from North Carolina, Sepp Straka, Brian Harmon, Harry Higgs, Taylor Gooch, and Max Homa. Harrington, Greaser, and Straka all making the turn. Harmon and Higgs through 6, Gooch through 3, and Homa is through 2 holes. From Augusta, I'm Ted Emmerich, Westwood One Sports.
This Masters Update has been brought to you by Ronald Bubba Sandifer, Emmett Baird Realty, the Courage Through Cancer 5K, May 21st at Shelby Farms, Wedgwood Golf Club, Bob Simpson State Farm Agency, and Mid-South Wellness in Eastgate.
Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio, presented by Tito's Vodka, from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Juicy Seafood in South Haven at 775 Goodman is your next destination. Incredible seafood and a great bar as well. Happy hour daily from 11 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. Great beer specials. Buy 2, get 1 free. A bucket special of beers is just $18. Happy hour cocktails Monday through Thursday, 2 to 6 p.m. Buy 1, get 1 half off all liquor. Wine specials daily from 11 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. $4 and up. The feeling as you walk in is fun. It's like being on a cruise ship without the water. It's great for the whole family. Nice and intimate with real hand staff and great service. So if you're looking for some great fresh Gulf seafood, they got it at Juicy Seafood in South Haven. Great for guys and gals night out to watch the game or that overdue date night. Great shrimp and oysters from the Gulf, Alaskan crab legs, fresh lobster, awesome signature dishes like Mississippi farm-raised catfish, and seafood bread made from scratch topped with crab and shrimp and cheese. For the kids, you got chicken tenders and fried shrimp, so you can't go wrong. Bring your seafood appetite to Juicy Seafood at 775 Goodman in South Haven.
Hello, Batesville, Mississippi. It's Big Pop, inviting you to Mississippi's biggest and best gun shows. Big Pop Gun Shows will be in Batesville April 9th and 10th at the Batesville Civic Center, 290 Civic Center Drive. Saturday hours is 9 to 5, Sunday hours 10 to 5. Adult admission is $8, kids 6 to 11 is only $2. Buying, selling, trading, gun appraisals, over 250 tables of merchandise to see. The largest vendors around. Grab your $1 off coupon now at BigPopGunShows.com. All federal, state, local laws must apply. See y'all this weekend.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Some people say you get what you pay for. However, our opinion is free. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elder Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repaired roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-867-0303 for Brian Elder Roofing and Contracting.
Call 867-0303. Roofing Solutions.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Just got a text from our friend Ted Butler who said, Tiger says he's always nervous on the first hole. Maybe that's why he missed the first green, but he did chip within 10, and Tiger Woods and Augusta Greens, that's a marriage in heaven. He made it. He made the 10-footer, so he is even par through, and Russell Copeland's going to join us in a minute. This portion of the show is brought to you by the good folks at Old Dominick. You know that is Memphis's hometown distillery. I'm going to start talking to you about some new Grind City products coming your way this summer. They got the new Rafers deal. That's cool. We got Tiger Tail. We got so many great products with which to think about, including Poppy's Pills. So we'll be talking a lot more about that because it's summer. But we love Old Dominick and their distillery right there at 305 South Front Street. It's the only one in town with a tour and a history lesson, and you'll learn how the craft works from grain to glass. It's your hometown distillery, Old Dominick. Our title sponsor for the show, you know it's Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. That is where you will never pay more than sticker price on a brand new car. Other dealerships, well, they live by the law of supply and demand. They're not giving you that deal, but that's what they do. Right there at Craft Road and Highway 78, the first exit in Mississippi. Turn left, and you'll see why they've raised the bar and set the standard for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. It's always NFL time, even if we've got so many other things going on. Russell Copeland joins us now. It's finally died down a little bit. We got the draft coming up. But I want to ask you, Russell Copeland, as you've looked at it all, so many free agency moves, including re-signings like Aaron Rodgers, who was the team or two that you think rated the highest? Who are the ones that didn't do so good in free agency? Good morning.
Well, good morning, Dave. First of all, I don't know if there is one team that did the best, but I think there are about 4 teams that I believe put themselves in contention to win the division and make a run in the playoffs. And I think there's about 3 other teams that got significantly better. And I'm going to start with, the team that I think really did great. The first team that comes to mind are the LA Chargers. Their head coach, Brandon Staley, has a defensive pedigree. So he goes out and he gets the top cornerback in J.C. Jackson from the Patriots. He got 2 defensive linemen, 2 great defensive linemen, Sebastian Joseph from the Rams, Austin Johnson from the Titans did a great job on that defensive line. But the trade to get Khalil Mack, I think it was huge to go along with Bosa, with these defensive acquisitions that they have, to go along with the other players they have on defense. I think they're ready to compete in a tough AFC West division. Offensively, we know they're already set. They retain Mike Williams. Justin Herbert is great. They got Keenan Allen. So they'll be ready to go from a defensive standpoint. The second team that comes to mind, Dave, are the Miami Dolphins. I think when you look at Mike McDaniels, you look at his pedigree, you look at when he was with the San Francisco 49ers, how he was able to utilize Deebo Samuels. They go out and get a monster trade with Tyreek Hill. So now you've got a souped-up Deebo Samuels. They have speed. When I'm talking about speed, they got Chase Edmonds in free agency. They got Raheem Mostert, Cedric Wilson from the Dallas Cowboys. They retain their great tight end and Mike Gesicki. And I think right now, Dave, Tua Tagovailoa, he has a lot of weapons at his disposal. I think it reminds me when he was in Alabama throwing the football all over the yard to those great receivers. And I think if he cannot make it now, he will not be able to make it as a starting quarterback, but I think he'll do well. But if he stutters and if he has any kind of issues early in the season, they signed Teddy Bridgewater, who I think is very capable, Dave. And my Buffalo Bills, I think the Buffalo Bills did an outstanding job. I think when they went on the defensive side and they got Von Miller, I think they had a top 5 defense, but now they have a pass rusher that can get after the quarterback. Now you can play the coverages that you want. And I think being able to get an extension to Stephon Diggs, I think that was huge. But they also made some subtle moves. They were able to get 2 offensive linemen and Saffold. They were able to get Greg Manis. And backing up Allen, they got Case Keenum and Matt Barkley. And they also got Jamison Crowder. So those are the top 3 teams. My 4th team, Dave, is going to be the Denver Broncos. We saw what Nathaniel Hackett, now he's the head coach for the Broncos. We saw what he's been able to do with the Green Bay Packers. They've been 13-3. They throw the football all over the yard. I think they had to get a quarterback when you look at the Denver Broncos. And I think getting Russell Wilson to be able to compete with the other quarterbacks in that AFC West, they have a good defense, and adding on to that defense, it's Randy Gregory. And I think when you look at their wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, you got Tim Patrick, you also got a young running back in Javonte Williams. So I think they'll be ready to go. Those are my top 4 teams that I think did very well, Dave. And the other 3 teams we can talk about that I think got significantly better. But these 4 teams here, I think they put themselves in contention to win that division and definitely go deep into the playoffs.
Well, just to go over like Buffalo, not only, as you said, they added 2 new backup quarterbacks, but they got rid of Mitch Trubisky. To me, that's a huge plus.
It definitely is. And it's a quarterback-driven league, and, quarterbacks get banged up, and you want to be able to have a quarterback that you can rely on that has to win a few games for you or definitely put you in contention to win the game and hopefully your defense to win. But speaking of the other 3 teams that comes to mind that I think got significantly better was the Las Vegas Raiders. I think, they got Josh McDaniels, and we know what type of offense that he wants to run. But getting Devontae Adams to go along with Carr, they were teammates in college. They put up some great numbers in college. And we see what quarterbacks, wide receiver duos that have played in college. We were able to see what Joe Burrow was able to do along, throwing the football to Chase. I think that was huge. But defensively, they were able to get the outside linebacker Chandler Jones to go with Max Crosby. They also gave Max Crosby an extension. I think they get significantly better. The tough part about that, they're in a tough division. The next team is going to be the Cleveland Browns. I think Kevin Stefanski, he wants to be able to throw the football. I think he wants to be able to have the wide receivers to throw the football. And, they have a very solid, a great running game. And I think them signing Deshaun Watson, from a football standpoint, I think they got significantly better. Now, how everything plays out with a civil lawsuit, will he be able to play? How all that plays out, we'll have to see. But from a quarterback standpoint, they upgraded at the quarterback position. But they went out and got Amari Cooper. They got Jakeem Grant. And, they signed their tight end to a franchise. When you look at Njoku, you got Chubb and you got Kareem Hunt. I like them. And the last team that I think could be a dark horse, could be a sleeper, reminds me of the Cincinnati Bengals. You give them a couple years, is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they made a grade when you hired Doug Peterson over the debacle when we saw what Urban Meyer was able to do. But I think now when you look at Trevor Lawrence working with Doug Peterson, I think now we'll see the number 1 overall pick that we saw at Clemson. I think that now he can be able to be utilized. But they got James Robinson running the football. But they went out and signed Kristen Kirk, Jay Jones. They already had Marvin Jones. And I like even Ingram. He's been hurt a little bit, the former tight end for Ole Miss. I think they got better. I think they'll be very competitive this year.
I go back to your very first discussion of the Chargers being maybe the best team thus far in terms of a free agency acquisition and changing of their team. That would make you, if you lived in Southern California, one happy guy. Because the Rams are the defending Super Bowl champions, and now you got the Chargers that you say are going to be right there. That new SoFi Stadium is going to be busy every week with a great game.
That's right. And that's what you have to bring in L.A. As they say, it never rains in Southern California. And the Rams are the Super Bowl champions. You got the Chargers playing. But I'm really excited about that AFC West division. And usually, Dave, I do not get excited in March and April, about September. But right now, it's been a lot of moves in free agency, and that AFC West looked like a very competitive division. I'm looking forward to see how all of this plays out come August and September.
We'll talk a lot about the draft in the next couple of weeks for sure. But give me your take on the best quarterbacks. Is it that kid from Liberty? Is he the best QB in this draft?
Well, when you're talking about quarterbacks, Dave, you always have to, it's a hard group to judge. But Malik Willis, I love his arm. I love his strength. Just overall with the quarterbacks, I don't think this class is as strong. But I still think, Dave, there will be 4 quarterbacks taken in the first round. And we're talking about Matt Corral, And you're talking about parallels and you talk about comparisons. He reminds me of a Heath Schuler. He can get outside the pocket. He may go first round to Seattle Seahawks. You look at Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett is probably the quarterback that's ready to play now if you look at all the games that he has played. But I have a lot of question marks about him. He reminds me of a Sam Darnold. I think that he'll go early. It could be a surprise. He may even go number 6 overall to the Carolina Panthers. And we talked about Malik Willis. You know, he reminds me of a Steve McNair. Dante Culpepper, he has that strong arm. He can get outside the pocket. He can break some tackles. Then there's a question mark when you look at Sam Howell. I think he's coming in from North Carolina. Who does he remind you of? He reminds you of Baker Mayfield. He has a strong arm. He takes a lot of chances. And then to me, the quarterback that could surprise a lot, I think the intangibles of him, but he's a question mark, intriguing, is Desmond Ridder. He reminds me of a Colin Kaepernick. I think those 5 quarterbacks can easily get into the first round. But who's the best? I don't know, but I think right now it'll probably be between Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis, who goes number 1 or number 2 as far as the first and second quarterbacks taken. But any of those other quarterbacks can slip in, Dave.
Last thing, Calvin Austin, who wowed him at the Combine and wowed him again, I think, at Pro Day. Where will Calvin end up? 3rd round, 4th round, where do you think?
Well, I tell you what, Calvin Austin, his testing was a first round. He put first round testing. I think because of his size, because of some of the intangibles there from a lack of size, I think he slips into the 2nd round, maybe gets into the 3rd round. He ran a 4.32. He had a 40-inch vertical, being 5'7", had a tremendous workout at the Senior Bowl, tremendous workout at the Combine. I put him between the 2nd and 3rd round.
You know, you mentioned that vertical. So if you're 5'7", and I think that's about right. You know, people think he's smaller than that. He's not. I mean, he's a couple inches taller, about 1.5 inches taller than me. I'm about 5'5.5" now. I was once 5'6". Boy, age is a robber. But when you're 5'7", but you can leap 40 inches, what does that make you? Because that's much higher than the average vertical leap. So what does that make you? Now, some of it would be reach. I don't know if he's got the longest arms in the world. I know he's got improved hands. But in your mind, how do you equate that vertical leap in terms of making you taller?
Well, he plays bigger. He plays bigger because, therefore, him being short, we understand the size, but he can be able to compete for some balls that are 50-50, and you usually do not look at a receiver being 5'7" that can be able to compete for those 50-50 balls. So what that does for Calvin Austin is that he can not only play inside, he can be able to play outside, because if you give him a little space, he can be able to jump up and pluck the football before he gets into a physicality, before he gets into a physical matchup with that cornerback. You know, I've loved this kid, Dave. You've asked me about him during the season, and I told you that he could be a top 3 pick, and I think he's shown that. But not only on the field, Dave, I mean, I love his personality. He's very personable. He's a great young man. But this is a young man here that you give the football to him in space. He'll understand the speed of the game. He can make a lot of plays. You can put him in the backfield. You can put him in the slot. You can return kicks with him. You know, whoever gets this young man, they're going to get a great football player. But I think he could slide into the 2nd round. At the latest, I think 3rd. If he goes into the 4th, it'll be a huge steal. But I think he'll go 2nd, 3rd round.
Well, you mentioned a guy already earlier today, Tyreek Hill, who is now a Miami Dolphin, who was a Kansas City Chief. And can he be as good as Tyreek Hill? Because he's kind of like him.
You know, that's a big stretch when you're talking about Tyreek Hill. But he does have some of those intangibles. I think he'll have to gain a little weight. But you know, there are a lot of receivers that play. You got Deontay Spencer. He's been able to play. You have Cole Beasley has been able to play. I'm not going to say Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is he's built a little stronger, but I think you can get the football in his hands in the same way that you get the football in Tyreek Hill's hand and Deebo Samuel's hand. But I love Calvin Austin, man. And I tell you what, one thing about him is that he's not a track runner playing football. What he is now, he's a football player that has speed, and that's the difference. I think that's what he has changed from his walk-on days to his last couple of years here with the Tigers.
I'm with you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk more draft in the next few weeks, that is for sure, because the National Football League is always front and center, and that's why we always have Russell Copeland. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, man.
That is our guy, Russell Copeland, on the Shield. He's brought to you by James Davis. The Paul Batenley suits are plentiful right there at James Davis, the men's store of Memphis in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. You get 2 for $8.95. You can get it from classic fit to trim fit. The material is absolutely the most comfortable. I have a couple. I got in on the deal. I just got my son in on the deal for his wedding. You can't beat the Paul Batenley suits for look or for feel. And we're getting back to the office. Many of you who are working at home are getting back in. It's time to dress up. Even if it's casually, you want to look good when you get back to the office. You got to look nice. James Davis has 5 pocket and performance fabric and cotton fabric, and they've got an amazing array of pants and a huge selection of denim. And there's an abundance of sports shirts, button-up for the office, or even polos for work, or, of course, for the golf course. I know you're working out. James Davis now is working with you with the Task workout wear. It's the way to go. It's cotton and bamboo. It's that combination that performs with you. And, of course, they're the only ones in town with the stance system so popular. It's now 4 weeks for the turnaround. But that's because this modern technology of custom fitting is the best. And it's only found at James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. Here I am in the Family Leisure Studios. A reminder, they're looking for new workers. If you would like a new career path, sales or associate in chemicals or cashier, if you're liking outside and you want to be a part of an installation group for above ground pools, they've got all kinds of good paying jobs available right now. Go see Lindsay or Billy or any of the folks at 2120 Witten Road, or you can even call 371-9090. You may have a whole new career just by contacting our friends at Family Leisure. Let's take a break. When we come back, we head to Baton Rouge. We'll talk a little bit about maybe some SEC baseball. We'll review the Final Four with our SEC historian. That's Ron Higgins, and he comes your way right around the corner.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, fellas. It's Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and I want to make you aware of something. Did you know that April is Diamond Month? Well, it is. And if your wife or your girlfriend or maybe your daughter has a birthday in April, Diamond is her birthstone. If your wedding anniversary is in April, then your wife surely deserves a diamond. Whatever the occasion, a small gift-wrapped box containing beautiful diamond jewelry from Russell Brothers will always hit a home run and make you a hero in her eyes. A ring or a pendant, earrings or bracelet. You just can't go wrong with a piece of diamond jewelry from Russell Brothers. It'll be a gift that she'll treasure for many years. For 5 decades, Russell Brothers has been helping Memphis men find the very best in diamond jewelry for their sweethearts. In yellow or white gold, in platinum or sterling, you cannot go wrong with a gift of exquisite diamond jewelry from Russell Brothers Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Hello, Batesville, Mississippi. It's Big Pop, inviting you to Mississippi's biggest and best gun shows. Big Pop Gun Shows will be in Batesville April 9th and 10th at the Batesville Civic Center, 290 Civic Center Drive. Saturday hours is 9 to 5, Sunday hours 10 to 5. Adult admission is $8, kids 6 to 11 is only $2. Buying, selling, trading, gun appraisals, over 250 tables of merchandise to see. The largest vendors around. Grab your $1 coupon now at BigPopGunShows.com. All federal, state, local laws must apply. See y'all this weekend.
Remember when Anderton's was your favorite place? Well, it's been reborn as The Cove, with all Anderton's memorabilia and more. Enjoy happy hour daily from 4 to 7 with Johnny Harden $5 lemon drops, the most extensive bourbon bar in Memphis, and extraordinary bar grub. My favorites, raw fresh oysters, the best oysters Rockefeller, and stoner pie, made from cream cheese, rotel, beef tamales, and Fritos. The Cove also has great paninis and pizza. There's plenty to do at the Cove, too. Trivia Tuesday, Karaoke Wednesday, and live bands every Friday and Saturday. Find out the weekend lineup on Facebook or call 901-730-0719. Remember when you had a favorite place called Anderton's? Well, it's back as The Cove, 2559 Broad Avenue. The Cove, your favorite place to go.
Whether it's Miramichi, Cherokee, Galloway, or any of the numerous courses around town, you'll find me, Sheldon Rosengarten, with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors, stinking up the course, because I've been known as the worst golfer in town. But along with that tag, people often say that when it comes to selling homes, when you want the job done, call Sheldon. Yes, I spend most of my time making sure my clients get the absolute best and most successful strategic marketing program. Darn it, I hate hitting triple bogeys, but I'd rather be making my clients more for their homes quicker. And who else is going to tell you that if you're thinking of selling, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure that Sheldon is one of them. Remember this, write it down. You can reach me, Sheldon Rosengarten, at memphisrelocate.com or 4830546. That's memphisrelocate.com or 4830546. Do it now.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Back at Augusta National, Tiger Woods had a reasonable putt, I would say about 12, 13 feet for birdie on number 2. He laid up on the par 5, didn't make it. So through 2, he's even par. That is only 1 stroke behind the leaders. I'll let you know. This portion of the show brought to you by Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Ken knows, well, it's a big deal. Yeah, you're building that dream home. He understands that is a commitment, and that's why he commits to you. It's why he and his dad, he learned it from his dad 50 years ago, that you work closely with your clients. You ensure that they get exactly what they want and should expect, which is quality construction on time, on budget. 2 generations worth of Ken Garland homes. All you got to do is go to kengarland.com. You'll see all of those homes all across the Mid-South. Nothing's finished until everything is right. It's really perfect with Ken. And that could be with a brand new dream home. Maybe you're looking for land. He's got it. You don't know how to utilize the land you got. He knows. Or maybe you want to renovate. You love your lot. You love your home. You just want the modern amenities. He can do that for you, too. All you got to do is call 751-1632. 751-1632. Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. We are having a little connection problem with Ron Higgins, apparently. I spoke with him a little bit earlier today, so I don't know what's happened. I hope everything is okay. We were talking a little earlier about the NBA and the 82-game schedule and how to sort that out. There are a couple of other notes that are going. I don't know if you've seen this. Somebody did a parody of One Shining Moment on the L.A. Lakers. And basically, the L.A. Lakers' one shining moment came when they were taking pictures before the season began. How about that?
That was the best moment of the season for him. It was really all downhill from there.
Well, then they had some good moments with press conferences. Like there was one where Westbrook ended up getting he didn't even know he had a technical. How do you not know you have a T?
Maybe he gets them so often at this point he just forgets.
He goes, he's looking at that. Somebody must have asked him. He's looking at the sheet. He goes, I had a T? Really? One shining moment for the Lakers, missing the playoffs. That's the biggest bust of the league, right?
It'd have to be, considering all the talent. Granted, it's old talent, and people said that from the beginning. But if you would tell somebody in their primes, now obviously this isn't their prime, but a team with Carmelo Anthony, Rajon Rondo, LeBron James, who else is on the team? Dwight Howard, name them. Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis. I forgot Anthony Davis. Yeah. You would be surprised they would miss the play-in tournament of all things.
Well, you know what? I could have understood. And they did sort of collapse at the end with their ages. I mean, think about how old is Melo now? I mean, Melo's way past his prime, even though he's okay. He's played okay. I give him a lot of credit, but he's up there. He's embraced his role. He understood it.
He's 37.
Yeah. And LeBron is what? 37?
I think they're the same age, yeah.
You know, Westbrook is no longer a spring chicken. AD is injured all the time, even though he's still really in his prime. But, you think about it, maybe we shouldn't be that surprised that at the end of the year they just all fell apart.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's really the first time, well, maybe not the first time, but because you've seen it over the past few years, but there's a point in time where you would not count LeBron out if he was playing with me and you out there, Dave. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if LeBron's out there with anybody, he can compete for a championship. This is really the first time by sheer force of will LeBron wasn't able to do that, and he did so while leading the league in scoring, too, and almost winning the scoring title. So it's certainly shocking to see LeBron in any level below. However, even though he's still great, he was at a level so high, it's surprising to even see him dip down just a little bit. Not unlike Tiger Woods. We're all thinking he's going to win the Masters still, even though all of the information presented to us, he's had a car accident, maybe his leg is going to get amputated. He's the most bet guy to win the tournament. So maybe those greatest players ever in whatever they do, it's still surprising to see them dip even a little bit.
I guess. With golf, it's a little tougher.
That's right. It's an individual sport, all that kind of thing.
And Tiger, the irony here is that Tiger is 46. So guess who won his 6th Masters at the age of 46?
That would be Tiger Woods.
You hope it's Tiger Woods, who's going to have a birdie look at 3 from the fringe.
Jack Nicklaus.
One
of the greatest wins ever.
In 1986, at the age of 46, got his 6th. Wouldn't it be something if Tiger Woods, who's even par through 2, has a look at birdie at 3, could end up being, at the age of 46, getting his 6th?
That would be certainly history repeating itself. Wow. I didn't even think about that aspect. He's thought about that aspect. You know what? I think he maybe was telling the truth when he said, I think I can win it. He's trying to win this. He wants to be just like Jack.
No. I seriously think that he's not said anything about his golf game. I mean, they did club head speed, exit speed, off the club face the ball. Club head speed is the swing itself. All of his speeds are that of the higher end on the PGA spectrum. Like, DJ still hits it further, but like Justin Thomas, one of the favorites to win this thing. His swing speed is faster with a driver in his hand than Justin Thomas's. So that swing speed is still there. For Tiger, quoting him, the issue is, can I walk it 4 days?
Right. That's what he's been saying all week.
Yeah,
that's right.
I don't think it's golf or the spring, or the swing. So we'll see. He's got a birdie putt that's coming up here. He's just slightly in the fringe. He's got an uphill putt, though, on 3, which is not necessarily a birdie hole. And, of course, he got the hard par 3 after he hit that badly. He left it way short. It's not quite a gimme for par at number 3. So Padraig Harrington is your leader with Ming Woo Lee, who's an Australian, Higgs, Gooch, Berger. DeChambeau had a birdie on 2.
Danny Berger.
They're all 1 under. Yeah, Daniel Berger
golfer.
Could clearly win. It's time for him to win a major tournament.
He owns Memphis. That's what we
say.
say.
Oh, yeah, he owns that. And, of course, the first playoff will be there. So, anyway, nobody is pulled away yet. Obviously, first day. We're only about 12 holes in. But your leader is at 1 under par. I've got to congratulate and wish the best to Elena Davis. Who is Elena Davis, you may be asking? I'll tell you who Elena Davis is. She's a 5th-year senior at the U of M. And she's played all the years in a Memphis uniform, came back this past year. Really, I think could have played another year because of the COVID deal, has chosen to enter the WNBA draft. I think she's really a nice young lady. She battled weight issues until this year. I mean, she lost. They never tell you how much. If you ever notice when you're looking at the sizes of female basketball players, like the men, he's a 6'7", 240 junior. All you get is she's a 6'1" senior. You never see weights with women basketball players. Promise. And that's okay. I would say that Elena Davis probably lost 40 pounds to make herself better this year. And she's a post player, but she's incorporated the ability to step outside. So I really do wish her the very best in going to the league. Tiger made his par putt at 3. He remains even. Last note of the day, because we got to get out of here and make way for Johnny Radio. Steve Lavin going to return to coaching. He will be the new coach at the University of San Diego. I've enjoyed him as a broadcaster, and he's been doing it a long time. I think his last job as a coach was UCLA in 2003. So he's been off the job for 19 years. He's a nice guy. I've gotten to chat with him in restaurants and things of that nature. I really wish him the very best. Final portion of the show, it's brought to you by the good folks at Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. That's the home of the tune-ups. And please, keep in mind, you're about to get ready for your air conditioning season. You want your house to be cool. The way to do it is to get that tune-up. I promise you. It's not expensive, $69. It will make your system last longer, keep your house cool in an efficient way so your MLG bill doesn't drive you crazy. 384-3511, that's the number to call for Conway Services. We thank Russell Copeland for his participation. You've got more updates coming on the Masters all day long right here. Keep it here on Sports 56. Have a great day, everybody.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know.